Hey everyone, this is Rod Santomassimo with the Massimo Show. And today we're going to do something different. Yeah, no guest today. I've been thinking about a couple of things on my mind I thought I'd share them with you. And based on a trend I'm seeing right now in commercial real estate, in every industry, but certainly in commercial real estate, we're seeing this wave of new books hit the market. And with my fifth book coming out on May 20th, I thought it'd be a great time to review some books. So on this Massimo Show, it's all about books. Should you? Could you? Why not? Watch out. Here's what you need to know.
Hi, this is Rod Santomassimo, and welcome to the Massimo Show. The objective of the Massimo Show is to share how you can maximize your personal and professional margin. That's right. Let's make more money in less time. Let's turn chaos into clarity, confusion into confidence, and income into real wealth. Along with sharing my insight on how I grew a multi-million-dollar professional business, we will bring you expert advice from various authors, consultants, and industry leaders to provide you the tools you need to build that commercial real estate business and life you have always desired. Welcome to the Massimo Show.
Welcome back to the Massimo Show. And we're going to have books. Yeah, there's so many books I've noticed hitting the market from friends I have, colleagues, and they've all are really good books. I'm honored that my fifth book is coming out on May 20th. It's my first book I've ever co-authored. This one's with my great friend and longtime client, and they call it the bromance, I guess, my buddy Bob Knakal, who is the top producing broker for a number of buildings sold, certainly in New York City, I think in the United States, and probably the world. I think right now he has 2,349 buildings sold and counting, and a great number of listings to increase that number. But this is my book, Selling Billings, we'll talk about later, but I want to see about the idea of you out there, maybe thinking about writing a book. Now, look, when I talk about writing a book, I do not, and I hope I will not, ever write a book that is generated through AI. To me, I believe, and I learned this lesson years ago, you have to put blood, sweat, and tears into your book and really understand it's you, right? When you write to your audience versus an AI bot saying, oh yeah, here's a good thought. I love AI. I'm the first one to tell you that AI is changing the world, both in the good way and some challenging ways. But when writing books, I want them to be authentic as hell and come from the heart. And I want you to sweat about it. It's about sweating. I like the sweaty startup. Sweat about the books. So here's some books I noticed recently on the market, and I've read them all. Well, I haven't read one of them. I need to read that one. I apologize. Amy Caladrino wrote a book called From Perfect to Real. I liked it. She has an acronym there that you should all get to know. Amy is an active client of the Massimo Group. Supporter. I love what she does. Everyone who knows Amy knows she is unique. She is authentic, and the book is the same. Chad Griffiths, who also has a great podcast on industrial real estate, wrote a book called Industrialize. I'm hearing some really good things about it. I have not read the book yet. Chad, I need to read your book. And then you probably know on social media, certainly Twitter, Nick Huber wrote the book, The Sweaty Startup. And depending on this podcast comes out, it probably be after his launch. His book launches April 29th, 2025. I've read the book. I've digested the book. Really, really good book for entrepreneurs. There's a lot of key lessons in there. And yeah, if you are right now looking for some motivation or some direction, I highly recommend all the books, and Nick's book, absolutely worth reading. My new book with Bob Knakal comes out May 20th. We took about 2.5 years now to get this book written, rewritten, digested, repositioned, all to say, okay, what's the best book for the market for the time? And we're excited about Selling Billings coming out on May 20th. So I reflected on some of the key lessons about books. You all probably been told you need to write a book. Writing a book is hard. Selling a book is a hell of a lot harder. It just is. Right now I've written, this would be my fifth book, right? And I learned a couple of things that have helped and certainly have hurt. Now, each of my books have hit number one in my targeted category for when I wrote that book. For example, Brokers Who Dominate, my first book, written and released, or written before them, but released in 2012, it hit the number one commercial real estate brokerage selling book when it launched. And it still is one of the top commercial real estate brokerage book selling, and it still sells a copy every day. Imagine that. It sells a copy every day for the past 13 years. So that Brokers Who Dominate, that was a great book. And then I wrote a book about teams built to dominate, and that was in 2016. And I want that to be all about real estate teams, and that book hit #1. That's a great book about if you're going to create a team. Now, I changed my approach if I rewrote that book, because I think now teams are more formulated based on outsourced help and certainly AI bots going forward. Then I wrote my third book, which is my first ever truly sales book outside of commercial real estate, Knowing Isn't Doing. That hit the #1 new sales book in the country in 2020. And when you get to why that happened, and if you think about selling a book and how it happened, then I wrote recap of my first 2 books called Dominators. That again hit #1 when I released that. That was last year or 2 years ago, I believe. And now the 5th book, we're positioning that. Barbara Corcoran, strip mall guy, a lot of REIT owners, a lot of major Renato and other executives have all endorsed the book. That book will be phenomenal success, I am sure, especially reading with my buddy, Bob Knakal. So what are the lessons I've learned through all these books and all these hours of writing and all the years of selling, right? Because look, you can write a great book, but if you can't sell it, it really doesn't matter. It just doesn't, because your word won't get out. Your message will not get out. So here's the first lesson of writing books. #1, do you have a defined goal that will make the book a success? Not only to your readers, but to you, or vice versa. Maybe not only to you, I want to sell a lot of books. But how about your readers? Why should someone want to read your book? Why is someone going to pick it up if you're fortunate enough and go the distribution route and it gets on the bookshelves like Barnes & Noble and others, like my Knowing Isn't Doing did? Or you sell just through Amazon, like most of my books do, right? Why do you want to sell the book, and what does success look like? That's a great, great question I've been asked by other mentors in my life. Hey, what does success look like? What's the true reason that you want to write that book? You've got to articulate that. You've got to know that before you write it, because there will be times while you're writing the book, you're going to ask yourself, what the hell am I doing? I'm wasting all this time. I could be selling. I could be marketing. I could be building my team. Hell, I could be spending time with my family. But instead, I'm sitting here in the dark writing a book by myself, right? So you really better know the why. Why are you writing that book? When I wrote the first book, it was just to get the recognition of the Massimo Group to commercial real estate brokers. That was my only reason. I didn't care if I made money in the book. In fact, I didn't for many years, but now I am. But it was about getting noticed. That was all. First book. I just want to get noticed. Hey, out there, I can help you if you're a commercial real estate broker. I'm a coach. That's all it was. It was, hey, can I get noticed? And I wrote the book that way. Now, the book right now is written more because I love working with Bob. And I said, yeah, it'd be fun to do a project. Yes, it will get us more clients. I get that. This most recent book is more of a collaboration project with my buddy Bob. That was really it for me. Bob wants to do it because he wants to get in front of more investors and get more listings. It makes total sense. It does. This is his first book. So he has that same motivation. He was getting known even better than he is right now, get deeper into New York real estate, believe it or not that he is already, and get more listings. So again, objectives for the books, both for your reader and for you. Rule #1, you got to figure that out. If you can't figure that out, don't write a book. Don't.
Hey folks, Rod Santomassimo with the Massimo Group. And did you know we work with thousands of your commercial real estate peers over the past 15 years now? And we've helped them build the business and the life they've always desired. And yeah, we have programs now for every level of success, experience, and yeah, even budget. So if you're tired of living on that transaction treadmill, of living in the chaos and the whirlwind of commercial real estate, if you want more clarity, more control, and more consistency, and yeah, higher commissions, give us a call. Visit us at www.massimo-group.com. That's www.massimo-group.com and schedule a free strategy session today.
#2, selling books, right? Selling a lot of books is awesome, right? But look, you got to get reality. It is not likely you're going to be a New York Times best-selling author. It's highly unlikely you'll ever hit that. And if you're going to hit that, you got to go through a national publisher. You got to be ranked on certain lists. It's a lot of money, a lot of effort, a lot of time. And for your objectives, for most of you, it's not necessary. And Wall Street Journal, though that list has come down as of late and hasn't come back up in a while, I don't think it exists right now, but the Wall Street Journal best-selling list is almost the same, right? You got to sell a minimum of 5,000 books that day one. Look, understand this. A book is destined to be successful. Everyone recognize this. A book is destined to be successful if and when you sell 500 copies. Isn't that amazing? That's all it takes to be a successful book. Sell 500 copies. I've been blessed. I've sold thousands and thousands of copies. But that's what a successful book looks like. So you're not going to hit a big list like you think. So understand this. Number 2 lesson, don't worry about the list. If you can position your book correctly in the right category, you'll become a #1 seller. That's actually now, it's pretty much easy to do now to several books in the category which you want to become #1. You can. So think of the book lesson number 2. You're not going to be a best-selling author in New York Times or Wall Street Journal, but you're a best-selling author on Amazon, which is great. But the book should be nothing more than a presence piece then, right? To get people to get to know who you are. Have that thud factor. Be positioned as a thought authority. That really is the essence of why you would write a book, right? It's far from a business perspective. Yeah, I'm actually thinking about writing another book in a couple of years, just based on my passion for a sport I have, right? But it has nothing to do with business. It's something I enjoy doing. But I don't know if I would do that because I still love business. But that's my point. Selling a book is awesome, right? It is. Getting ranked is cool. But remember, most importantly, get the marketing. It's a marketing piece for you to share to everyone. Speaking of marketing piece number 3, understand that when you market the book, it goes well beyond your network and key influencers. But those are 2 really crucial elements of selling your book, certainly launching your book. You have to line up your network and your launch party and the people that are going to help you push the book. That is essential. If you don't, you're going to really struggle to get that book sold to the masses, right? To sell hundreds of copies, thousands of copies, tens of thousands of copies. You need to have influencers behind you and a network behind you. Absolutely true. And then you got to think about, if I'm selling one book at a time, ouch, that's a hard way to sell books. How can you sell books in bulk? How can you create tiers of offers? If you buy X books, you get this. If you buy X plus Y books, you get this. If you get X plus Y plus Z books, then you get this. What kind of opportunity for you, access to courses, access to training, access to live Zoom calls? What do they get if they buy more books, right? And you should also think about when you're marketing the book beyond the influencers, how do you create urgency around your launch date? That's really important. Look, we've learned this, and you all should knows this. People buy always. Most of your purchases are going to be in that last week of launch, not the month before, 2 months before, 3 weeks before, but that day of launch is when you sell most of your books, and then becomes a struggle. So again, think about marketing the book goes beyond influencers and networking. That's essential, but then create giveaways and tiers to do that. Okay. Number 4, look, like I said, getting ranked is great. And for most of you, some of you, you want to position yourself as a best-selling author, which is great. That yes, I will tell you, once you position yourself as that, you will get more leads, you'll get more speaking opportunities, you can charge higher fees. I live it, I know it, you can do it, right? But understand, you're going to have to sell that book again and again and again and again, right? It has to be purposeful, that's right, purposeful marketing behind your book, behind your brand, behind you. First day rankings are great, but you'll make no money unless you sell some books. And you're not going to make a lot of money. The money comes from the clients, the opportunities, that your projects that you get because of your books, speaking, coaching, training, selling buildings, listing buildings, whatever you refinancing, whatever your expertise is, in this case for commercial real estate brokers, right? That's where the opportunities come. The book is a hook. That's all it is, right? Let's go to another one, number 5. Don't be afraid to give away as many books as you can. I mean that. Of course, I prefer you recoup your cost first. When I say recoup your cost of printing, your cost of distribution, some of you, the Amazon costs, right? An editor you should have, absolutely get your book edited. Oh, isn't it? Please get your book edited. You are not an editor. AI is not an editor. It isn't. You need someone to edit your book. Now, as AI gets better, it's going to become an editor. It's true. But you don't think you should put a book out to the public without you getting an editor. You are not the editor. You're not. You are not the book formatter. You're not. That's not your role. You are the book author. You can't be all those things and get a great book. Yes, you got to hire cover designers. You got to hire orchestrators. You got to hire editors and book formatters. And then you got to hire printers and then distributors. So yeah, give away some free books. But once you get all your costs covered, give away more free books. That's just what you have to do. No doubt, 100%. I've read so many business books in my career. The greatest book launch of all time was by Alex Hormozy. If you don't follow Alex Hormozy, you absolutely should. But when he launched his last book, I think it was called Getting Leads, like that, $100 million leads, $100 million leads. He had millions of people across the globe with him the day of launch. He did it virtually in a studio from Las Vegas, but he just had a great marketing campaign because of his followers all over the internet. And then he got affiliates to sell his book and give his affiliates prizes for selling his books. So people were selling his books for him and getting prizes like dumb things like baseball caps and copies of books, right? And then some time and a video with him for your team. Those what he gave away to get people to sell the books for him. He has sold millions of copies, right? He created a worldwide event around his book launch. That absolutely needs to be studied, okay? So now you see the work you got to do to write the book, but actually go out and sell the book. And look, once you write a book, you're going to have to rewrite it again. There's some people who don't know. There's a dirty secret about book writing. Once you write a book, you're going to probably have to rewrite it again and maybe even again. Case study in my first, I can't say success story because it was a lesson, hard lesson. So I wrote my first book, Brokers Who Dominate, and I met an author, Warren Greshus, who writes sales books, and he lived 20 minutes away from me. I never met him, but I saw about him. So I reached out and said, Mr. Greshus, I don't know you. I wrote a book. I'd love to get your opinion. I want to write a book. Can you tell me some ins and outs? Just like I'm doing for you right now, right? And so I sent him the book, and he came back and he said to me, who are you? Freaking Fraser Crane? And he didn't say freaking. And Fraser Crane was a fictional character on an old TV show called Cheers. And he was this pompous academician, right? He knew everything. And as it turned out, when I wrote the first book, I did use words I generally don't use. I used a thesaurus. I thought I needed to write big words and position myself as this intellect, right? And it wasn't me. It absolutely wasn't me. So what I had to do was I had to go out and I had to create a different book. And he told me, Rod, this is not the person I met at lunch. Where's that person? So I had to actually rewrite much of that book after the years of writing it. And so I did. And thank goodness I did. Because as I said, that book still sells every day for 12 plus years now. So I guess then in this idea of books, look, books are hard to write. I do see people out there cranking out books every year. And I'm sure they're using AI or using other tools to get it done. Great books are not just thrown out there every year. I see these real estate people just basically cranking out books. Like, really? Are you cranking it out? What are you doing, right? So there's a little critique or criticism for those who do that. A great book should be taking their blood, sweat, and tears and getting it out there, or it just won't sell. It won't strive the purpose you want. So if you're going to do, I always was taught this. If you're going to do something, do it to the best of your abilities, and then the result will be there. So for all you would-be authors out there who are ready to write a book, go for it. Absolutely go for it. Write whatever you want to write about. There's some great folks out there that need to write books. But please, if you're listening to this podcast, think about writing a book, don't let anything I said deter you from going out and doing it. Just do it right. Okay, until next time, this is Rod Santomassimo with The Massimo Show.
Hey, that's it. That's a wrap for this episode of The Massimo Show. Once again, hopefully you learned a lot of value provided by our guests, or maybe by me. But the key is this. As we say in Massimo, knowing isn't doing. So don't kid yourself. You have to go out and do the work. You have to implement what you learned if you want to get the results. And please, if you like this episode, please share it. Share it with your colleagues, share it with your friends. Heck, share it with your dog. Just share it. And we look forward to seeing you next time on The Massimo Show.